You have felt this before. You walk into a place you have been 100 times, a shopping mall, a school hallway, an office after dark, except this time it is completely empty. Nothing is broken, nothing has moved. And still, some quiet voice in the back of your skull says one word: leave. There is a name for it now. People online call them liminal spaces. An empty mall at 3 in the morning, a deserted parking garage with one flickering light, a wide beige hallway that goes on just a little too long. Photos of these places have pulled in millions of views, and the comments all say the same thing. This gives me a feeling I cannot explain. So let us explain it. Because that feeling is not a ghost, and it is not magic. It is your brain quietly running 4 very old programs at once in a room that happened to trip all of them. Once you can see the 4, the spell starts to break. So let us take them apart, one at a time. Start with the simplest one. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every room you have ever walked into came preloaded with an expectation. A classroom means kids and noise. A mall means crowds and music and 100 shopping bags. A train station means a current of strangers, all moving somewhere. You do not think about any of this. You just quietly feel what a place is supposed to contain. Now strip the people out. Same tile, same lights, same smell of floor cleaner. But the prediction your brain made a half-second before you walked in just failed. The room is a sentence with the most important word missing, and your brain hates a broken prediction. It does not shrug and move on. It throws up a small red flag that says, "Something here is off. Pay attention." You cannot point to what is wrong because nothing physical is wrong. What is wrong is the gap between what you expected and what you actually got. The second program is much, much older than shopping malls. For almost all of human history, a wide-open exposed space was a genuine problem to solve. Picture one tiny figure standing in the middle of a huge empty plain. They can see far in every direction, but anything out there can see them just as easily. There is nowhere to put their back, nowhere to tuck in, nowhere to hide. Environmental psychologists have a tidy name for what we instinctively want instead. They call it prospect and refuge. Prospect is a clear view out, so you can see what is coming toward you. Refuge is a wall behind your back, a nook, a corner, a place to feel covered. We relax in spaces that give us both at once. Think of the cozy corner booth in a cafe, with a clear view of the door. We tense up in spaces that give us neither. And that is the whole trick of an empty parking garage or a vast silent hotel lobby. It is all prospect and no refuge. Long sight lines running off into shadow. Thick pillars you cannot see behind. A dozen directions something could come from and nowhere safe for you to stand. Your modern mind knows the garage is fine. It is just concrete and parked cars. But a much older part of you has already started quietly counting the exits. The third program is the strangest of the 4. We relax around things that are clearly normal. And oddly, we relax around things that are clearly fake. A cartoon, a doodle, a child's drawing of a house. What truly rattles us is the thin strip in between. Something almost real, but not quite. Researchers call this the uncanny. You usually hear about the uncanny with faces. A mannequin, a wax figure, a doll. A digital human smooth enough that you expect a soul behind the eyes, and wrong enough that there clearly is not one. But whole places can fall into that valley too. An empty office at midnight is the exact office you know. The same desks, the same gray carpet, the same humming vending machine. Except the life has been drained right out of it. It is your familiar everyday world, with all the people quietly subtracted. Like a stage after the audience has gone home, but somebody forgot to turn off the lights. Familiar enough to recognize, wrong enough to make you flinch. The fourth program does not feel like fear at all. It feels like a tug, a soft pull towards something you cannot quite put a name to. Look closely at which empty places go viral, and a pattern jumps right out. A school hallway lined with lockers, an old arcade, an indoor swimming pool, a motel corridor with that exact swirling carpet. These are almost never random empty rooms. They are the backdrops of childhood, places your memory filed away when you were small, half-formed, and only half paying attention to where you actually were. So when you see one of them sitting empty, 2 things land in the very same moment. You recognize it, somewhere deep down. And you also realize the version of you that belonged there is long gone. It is a small hit of nostalgia, laced with a quiet sense of loss. The space becomes a photograph of a life you can no longer walk back into. That is why so many people describe these pictures as dreamlike. They are brushing up against a memory that was never sharp to begin with. Now stack on the conditions that crank every single one of these up to maximum. Start with the light. Flat, even, fluorescent light. The kind in a basement corridor or a big box store right at closing time gives your brain almost nothing to read. No warm sun. No soft, long shadows. No clue about the time of day. Just a humming, shadowless glare that feels like nowhere, and no particular hour. And then do the opposite. Dim it right down, or leave one single tube flickering at the far end of a hallway. And you have handed your ancient threat detector a gift. A pool of darkness it cannot see into. Then take away the sound. A crowd is not just bodies. It is a steady wall of noise that constantly tells you everything is normal. Pull that wall out, and the silence suddenly has a texture to it. Your own footsteps get strangely loud. An air vent clicks on somewhere and your heart jumps. In that kind of quiet, your brain turns its own sensitivity all the way up, straining to catch the one sound that does not belong. Being featureless helps it along too. A long, repeating hallway with identical doors. A stairwell that looks exactly the same on every single floor. Nothing to anchor you. Nothing that says you are here and not there. The space quietly stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like a loop you might not get out of. So now put all of it back together. Stand that one lone figure in the empty mall again at 3 in the morning. The crowd that should be there is gone. That is the broken prediction. The sight lines run long into the dark with nowhere to hide. That is the ancient alarm. The storefronts are achingly familiar, but completely lifeless. That is the uncanny. And some buried part of you remembers a Saturday here from 20 years ago. That is the nostalgia and the loss. Then the flat light and the ringing silence reach over and turn every last one of those dials up to 10. That right there is the whole ghost. Not one big feeling. 4 old reflexes, all firing at the same time, in a single room that happened to push every one of their buttons at once. And here is the part I genuinely love. None of this means there is something wrong with you. It means the exact opposite. That wave of unease is a finely tuned, 100,000-year-old security system doing precisely its job, flagging a space that does not fit the pattern, just in case it ever matters. The empty room really is safe. Your brain simply refuses to take that for granted on your behalf. And honestly, that is a pretty good instinct to have held on to. So the next time you step into a place that feels wrong for no reason you can name, you do not have to just shake it off and hurry out. You can do something better. You can name it, piece by piece. Broken prediction. No refuge. The uncanny. The ghost of an old memory. 4 little alarms, all going off together in one empty room. And not a single one of them is actually a ghost.